So when you look at the zodiacs, of course, in the astrotheology, the moon factors heavily. Well, my challenge now is this. How about we have a look at the real zodiac and have a look at the crossing of Planet X and Nibiru that has been recorded countless times in history, and what effect that's going to have on the true astrotheological readings. Well, I'll tell you, with me being Virgo moon, I'm just going to kick the moon right out of there and go Virgo Planet X, which is planet life, truth, law of truth. So for me, in the whole concept of that's part of my zodiac sign, I took the moon out and I replaced it with truth, Planet X. So it changes now to giving birth to not an illusion, moon, but to truth, Planet X. And I covered the sky disk of Nebra. I reposted the links that I was talking about the other day and today again on Facebook for those that want. I'll pop them into Skype now too. If you guys, I'll put it in the main room if you guys want to share this around with everyone. These are the same videos to give you an idea of what to look for if you want to see the fat lady and her kids. That's Nibiru and the dark sun, and of course Planet X, one of the planets. And Planet X for me, as I went through the music scale, Pythagoras proved it perfectly. The only thing that was missing was, I'm not sure what he used for the so note, or if he threw the scale out. I'll have to look into it. But I did know that Pythagoras talked a lot about the planets being musical notes in the scale, from do to ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. And when I was laying the sun to planets out in order, Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and then there was a blank because it was open, Mars, in the scale, and of course T, Saturn, Jupiter, the big boys. I just put them both together because to me they're one and the same and completely opposite at the same time too. Just a feeling I have. But anyway, let's get back to the basics here. And I'm going to show you some more anagogics on this. It's just a coincidence, really, not. So we'll start at the sun. We'll call that one do. Start at the scale of the sun. Makes sense. Do-e, which is do, as in the act of. That's intent, right? Electricity is intent. So do-e, e is the mirror of consciousness, right? Consciousness being dark, of course it has to be the mirror, so it's going to be the projected light. So yeah, do works for sun, absolutely. Re, oh, let me see, that's Mercury. Or Ra, right? Are you sure you're worshiping the sun when you worship Ra? Or I would say it's more accurately Mercury or thoughts, or Hermes Trismegistus, thrice blessed, etc., 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 which again plays the demigod into it. But let's just keep it simple. You got Mercury, which is the winged messenger, Hermes, right? Hermes Trismegistus, right? And also that represents wisdom, okay, the mind. Of course, it rules Gemini and Virgo. Both signs are I think and I analyze. So Gemini and Virgo are the Mercury-ruled zodiacs. So it makes sense that Mercury is Ray, because it's an emanation. What is an emanation? Well, it's getting the word out, or getting the light out, getting the sound out. And that's what Hermes, or Mercury, the winged messenger of the gods, is doing. Then we move to mi, do, re, mi. Well, mi is for me is magnetic electric, which is divine feminine source. And lo and behold, there it is, Venus. That works. All about the Aphrodite, the love, right? And of course, there was the love between Venus and Mars. That's another story all by itself, right? And the Earth, of course, the heart came between Venus and Mars with this poisoned orb that's floating around outside of us called the moon, right? That's the horror that stepped in and disrupted the true nature of what's going on here, because the truth had been removed from our scale. So when I got to Fa, Venus, let's go with Venetian, Venice, Italy, Venus, Italy. You can pronounce Venice, Venus. V-E-N, Veen, I-C-E, is, like office. Venus, office. Venice, office, right? So off ice, there's many ways. You just have, phonics is about how you choose to pronounce it and in what way you want to, segments, all of it, letter by letter. When you decide to pronoun say it differently, what you've done is you've captured your Phoenician back. Because now you're not being spellbound. You're starting to hear the sound versus being blinded by the sigils. So there's magnetic electric. Now remember, V can also be an F or a PH. How's that, Kate? Well, let me tell you how. Kate of Gaia. You don't say Kate off Gaia. You say Kate of Gaia. I'll use my own moniker that I use for the show and whatever to prove this. And many of you have seen me write it up. Kate, UV, Kaya, K-A-I-A. Right? Of, UV, or OF. Sounds the same. So, therefore, the F can also be a V. So let's take the V out of Venice or Venetian and put an F sound there. And what do you have? Venus or Phoenician. So it plays out. And of course, the PH, the F, the V are all interchangeable sounds. The PH is the imposter. Okay? So let's go to the heart. Fa. The heart note is earth. E-A-R-T-H. Well, let's keep the E-A-R-T, but put the H in front. Let's take the bridge duality that's at the end and put it at the beginning, so now you can hear the truth. So now it becomes the heart, H-E-A-R-T. Right? Your bridge duality is the H, or the ash, that you rise from. And if you're calling it earth, well, the ash is at the end, so you keep ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So let's take that ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and make that the beginning, because that's where the phoenix rises from. And of course, the lungs to me look like two upside-down ash trees, so that makes perfect sense for the spirit. H is also represented in the Nebra sky disk as Orion, and it's sitting in the Grail. So that Holy Grail at the bottom of the Nebra disk, to me, is the Holy Grail that's referenced. That is the legal name. The cup that needs to be thrown away, because once you throw the cup away, you throw the ash away as well. Orion, the Orion Nebula. Okay, so Orion Nebula is sitting at the bottom. We all know what Orion's about. He's out trying to bag and bed the seven sisters of the Pleiades. He's one horny little bastard and doesn't stop. And well, he does now because he's gone, right? And of course, all the Vatican stuff is focused on the Orion Nebula and Orion. All the energy that people put into churches is going out there to serve that ash. You might have a different viewpoint of Ash Wednesday now, huh? Yeah, I thought so too. Let's all walk around with ash on our forehead saying, I worship Orion. That's what you're saying. Right? And this goes far beyond Saturnian worship. Right? Far beyond. So we get to, after the Fa note, we get to So. And, well, Mars doesn't work there because Mars is law, martial law, Mars, maritime law. Right? Work with the phonics, it proves it out. And then, of course, T, the law of truth or the crucifixion, one and the same. You have Saturn and Jupiter. For me, they're interchangeable. But I wasn't focused on that. The one I was looking for was one of our planets is missing. Which one is it? There's only one planet that makes sense there, and that's planet X, because that's the capital T in Phoenician. You take a planet and draw a big X across it, you've got a circle with an X in the middle. True or false? So for a brief time, the Ark of the Covenant is fulfilled when Nibiru, with planet X and the rest of the trailing angels, or whatever you want to call the planets, come passing through, and for a brief time, during that arc of its travels between Earth and Mars orbits, it's between Mars and Earth. So it's fulfilling its role as the completing note of our scale, where So is planet X, sowing truth. So, a needle pulling thread. Now, how many times have you heard me talk about the eye of the needle? It's easier for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the gates of heaven. This is why, because this needle pulling thread has got a camel attached to it called Nibiru in planet X. And it's going to thread through this whole area. It's here now. If you look up, there's some beautiful research being done on this. I'm going to tell you allegorically why. There's no fear here. The Mayans told you, hang on for the ride. If you know who you are, you're fine. Everyone else is buying into the fear porn and the planet's going to blow up and all the rest of it. The Yellowstone, well, then that's going to be their reality. They can hang out if they want. Me, I'm good. I'm good. Don't want any of that. All right, so what happens then when the scales of the music of our solar system finally is singing in its note, perfect note, and truth, there's your Eden, and truth is brought into the picture based on the ancient stories and a few other biblical things and Quran and all the rest of it. And the Mayans, I have to think that it's 3 days of darkness that you might have heard about. So there's your 3 days in the tomb or the tome, book of the life or book of the dead. So that's your 3 days of judgments. Okay? Doom or dome means judgment. The Doomsday Book is the Judgment Day book. If your name is written in the book of the legal registrar, you are in the book of the dead and will be counted as. If you're a legal name, you're in the book of the dead. If you're not a legal name, then you're writing your own book of life. This is what it means to write the book, to get your name in the book of life. It's not about, Jesus, would you be my personal savior? Jesus is going to say, fuck you, asshole. I told you to save yourself. What is it with you humans getting it wrong all the time? I wasn't here to save you. If you want to get literal on it, man, you crucified me. What the hell would I be wanting to save you for? I was trying to tell you to be as me, to do the things I do. Why do you call me Lord and not do the shit I'm telling you to do? You lazy, fearful little bastards. And Simon, screw off. I got home problems. Of course, Simon got a little tiffy, and, well, we know how that turned out. But anyway, it's a very, very simple thing. So for me, Planet X coming in is the needle pulling thread. So a needle pulling thread, and it fulfills the scales of the music. Therefore, if one scale is fulfilled, all are. And of course, it's going to be Libra, which are the scales of justice. All things brought back into balance. You're in the end days, my friends. This is my feeling on it. There's a lot of anticipation I've been feeling, and I've been getting it from a lot of people. And of course, you're watching the crazies step up, because the closer this dark star, the binary to the sun, the feminine mate, gets to us, the bigger the magnetic fields. And it's going to... This is magnetic radiation that is, for those that are too electrically charged, too much thinking, it's going to drive them crazy. It's just going to drive them nuts. Have a look at the cops these days. For the last little while, closer this planet's been system getting, the crazier these monkeys are. You know, shooting, what do you call it? Mentally handicapped people, murdering grandmothers, children, dogs, you name it. These guys are gun happy and crazy. And that's why. They're programmed. That's all they do. They just know a program. And they're getting crazier. And I mean, I've heard from a lot of different people, cops included over the years, that there are some absolutely nutty people in these forces. They don't want sane ones there. The crazies want to hire the crazies. And they're getting away with murder because you're using a legal name. You've consented to be dead. You're in the book of the dead. Get over it. Or get rid of it. One of the two. I got rid of it.